welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. Today we have a fun video. I'm going to be going over some great places that you can go for a first date. The holiday season is coming and this is a perfect time to reach out to that special someone, maybe someone that you've been talking to for a while, maybe someone that you've been crushing on, or maybe you just started talking to online or something like that. It's a great time to start a new relationship or friendship. I don't go by that theory that people don't want to link up close to the holidays. I think if anything, it makes people more sentimental. People long for closeness during this time. If you're the type of person who you don't want to talk to someone too close to the Christmas holiday because you're afraid to buy a gift or something, that's probably not a person that you want to be talking to anyway. If you're serious about a relationship and you're looking for something real, then I would take this opportunity to start something new with a special person. So it can be a little daunting thinking about where to go on a first date, especially during the fall and winter time. I think in the summertime, it's really straightforward, it's easy, and especially if you don't want to spend a lot of money, there's parks, going for walks, beaches, hikes, like just an endless amount of things. During the summertime, there's always festivals going on, things around the community, just people are lively, there's sunlight, depending on where you live. We have rain, we have loss of sunlight. Yeah, a lot of people are affected by seasonal affective disorder, just because we don't have a lot of sunlight throughout the day. And could be even snowing or hail, all kinds of stuff. So I think take advantage of this time because people are going out less. They're even going out less with their friends and stuff. So a fun date with a nice guy, that's something to look forward to, and it's not happening as often as maybe it would in the summertime. So take advantage of this time and try to think of something fun. So I like to think of the first date, you want to be forward about it. You don't want to put all of your eggs in one basket because there are so many reasons why people cancel on first date. They could get cold feet, they could just change their mind for whatever reason, emergency could come up, and you really don't have too much invested in that person yet. Even if you've been talking online for a long time, there's just something about not having that initial contact that makes people more likely to cancel. So on a first date can be, I think, thoughtful, but I don't think that you should invest too much of your time and energy thinking of something perfect. Definitely don't try to invest too much of your money either. For first dates, they should be comfortable, cozy, and convenient. Convenient would be even if one person lives on one side of town and the other person lives on the other, try to meet somewhere in the middle so one person isn't having to take a train or Uber or driving out. That's going to affect where you guys go and stuff like that. So try to make it convenient for both of you. First idea is a cozy coffee shop. This might be a little cliche, but a coffee shop is a great place for a first date. Again, it's convenient most of the time. It's low stakes, unless that person doesn't drink coffee or tea or something like that. You can even get a dessert at this point at coffee shops. They're normally dimly lit. There's some energy going. There's usually a little bit of a buzz going in a coffee shop. It's not the same as going into a bar. If you are uncomfortable having all of the attention on you, coffee shop is good. And sometimes there's outside seating too, which is nice for people who kind of need a breather. If you invite a girl to a coffee shop, it's not something that too steep in your wallet that you can usually pay for her drink or something like that, something nice. And they have all those fun holiday pumpkin spice and candy cane drinks, lattes, and it's a great conversation starter. People can actually talk a lot about coffee and their life and their mornings and how what makes them tick. Coffee shop it's a great place, and you don't have that time when you're after you're looking at the menu, when you're just waiting for your food. Typically you go in line, get the coffee, sit down, and you already have whatever, you're not waiting on anything. So coffee shop is a great place, and yeah, it's inside, it's warm, and that's what people want during this time of year. This one definitely depends on where you live. So if you live up north, they do have ice skating rinks some places. I think this is such a fun first date if both of you can ice skate. If you can't, then even going around, like walking around a park with or a campus with a ice skating rink is really nice. Usually there's like lights around or something like that. Usually they're selling hot chocolate. You don't necessarily have to put the skates on to make it a date. I think this is a great place to meet. It really goes back to what people did in their childhood, kind of nostalgic feelings, warm, seasonal, all those things that make people feel good. So ice skating rink, unless, you're very uncomfortable around the ice, then I think ice skating is a great first date during this time of year. Another idea is a Christmas market. Now, I love Christmas markets. I like going with friends. I like going with older people, my grandmother. It's always fun no matter who you go with, but I think it's like a great date. It's definitely the girl would think of like a Hallmark movie or something like that. There's always lots of stuff going around. There's arts and crafts and food workshop, so you don't have to worry about any awkward silences or anything. The people in the background are doing all the work for you, and you can just comment on things. It's a great place to ask questions and share things about yourself. Try to do an equal amount of that. Like, don't ask too many questions, especially when it has to do with this, family traditions. People like talking about that, but if you have, if you're going in too much, like asking her too many questions, she may feel caught off guard and uncomfortable. Just try to do an equal amount of sharing, and then, maybe if you really like someone, you're really hitting it off, you can talk about traditions that you want to start with someone else, and it may be the start to something really beautiful. Who knows? Kind of feel a sense of closeness in those environments, especially if you're going at night. They have the twinkle lights, they have all the smells and everything. Like, the atmosphere is perfect. Usually there's fires going, kind of just feel magical, even maybe if actually it isn't. You don't want something to be fake with someone or unauthentic, but if you are looking for something to kind of speed things up a bit, I think going to a holiday market is a nice idea. So this is another alternative to a restaurant. I do enjoy restaurant dates. I do. And I think that they're a good idea. I think they're better with people that maybe you have known for a long time. Maybe someone you've been kind of pursuing for a while, or a friend that just so happens to turn into a first date or something. Restaurants are fine, but I think for first date, it can kind of be a lot. Dessert shop is a great alternative to a restaurant. It's a smaller commitment, and even if you get stood up, you're at a dessert shop. So there's usually chocolate somewhere around at a dessert shop. They usually have drinks, like cocktails and, like chocolate drinks or something like that, cocoa, coffee, and the sweet types of food, eating sweets with a person. I think that can be comforting, especially to women. We love chocolate, and eating in front of people actually isn't always super comfortable, especially a big meal or something like that. She did her makeup and did her hair. Last thing you kind of want to do is eat a bunch of fried food. Having something delicate, like a pastry or a crepe, or something, a piece of pie or something, that can be perfect. And it's also really easy to share desserts. You're feeling close with that person, and desserts are delightful. They make you feel good, and it's not too often where dessert shops screw up a dessert. I think that happens more at restaurants. Maybe the service is bad, maybe they're backed up in the kitchen, all this stuff. But dessert shops, typically you order at the counter, and you have someone bring it to you, or you bring it yourself or something. There's not too much that can go wrong, and you can usually navigate a place pretty early. So when you're on a date, even though you paid before and how to do everything, when there's this new person there, you're more self-conscious. Both of you are thinking about the bill. Places like this make it very easy to get through, and both of you can have a great time. I really like this one because I think bookstores are coming back. All of us had the Barnes and Nobles and like Books a Millions and stuff, but little cute bookstores are definitely popping up again. And these are great places to meet, depending on who you are and depending on the bookstore. I think you should try to go to one that sells coffee. If it doesn't, that's also fine. But I would say if you are going on a date and you're bringing someone to save money, let's say, you need to know exactly what you're going to be doing there. So maybe this bookstore has, a lot of bookstores have activity nights and they usually post those, or they have like a little code and you can get the schedule or something for that. Typically those are free or, inexpensive, and they're a lot of fun. Typically it's people who hang out at a bookstore. Usually you're surrounded by nice people. So I would recommend doing that. I would say just going to a bookstore, I wouldn't want to just meet at a bookstore with someone who doesn't have any type of game plan. Like I don't like to go on a date with someone, go play untypical place, and just hang out. I think that can be awkward, especially for girls and women. If you're gonna do that, you need to know, okay, well, maybe you want to show her your favorite author. Maybe you're looking to buy a book and you want her to be there. You don't want to just, let's see if they have the magazine section here. I've never been here before. Like, I just wanted you to check this out with me. And I don't have any plans for afterward. It's just not a great thing. So if you are going to go to like a very alternative to like a typical place for a first date, like a restaurant or a movie, know what you're doing. And try to see if she's even interested in that. Ask her, like, does she like to read? Is she in any book club? Favorite author? Anything? And yeah, you'll find someone who that works with, and you'll find someone who that definitely is a bad idea. But overall, I think it's a great date. And so this one is good for any time of the year, but specifically you want to do this one when it's cold outside or it's bad weather, because you're going to be inside. A museum or an art gallery is a great place to bring a date. Again, it's kind of like the bookstore. I think that you should know a little bit more about a person before you bring them to an exhibit, before you go any place that involves engagement with the arts. It is a good idea to know a little bit more about a person versus, like the first one, like the standard coffee shop, where you can kind of get to know someone there. As long as that person drinks coffee or cocoa or tea or eats, croissants, for the most part, you can find something at a coffee shop that person will enjoy, as long as the company is also good. For a museum or an art exhibit, I think it's a great place to go with someone that you know has specific interests, and hopefully interests that you share together. It is okay to introduce someone to something new, or if you want to try something new as well. Don't go to those type of things and you want company, or you think this person would enjoy it and you could learn even from being around them. Do a little research on the museum, do a little research on the type of art you're going to be looking at. Ask that person, communicate with them, and see if they would like this. Now sometimes someone's going to tell you they're interested anyway, maybe not going to be fun. You can keep it low key. There are tons of museums that host free nights, or they have special hours you can come in. If you live in more of an urban area, I know that they'll have like the first Friday of the week or second Sunday or something, and they'll have all the art houses open, or they'll shut down like the main street, and they'll have everything open, and so it won't even cost money to get in. And that is a lot of fun. There's typically a lot of people there. Sometimes they even have free wine going on in these art galleries. That's, again, if you're worried about making conversation and having things to talk about. I mean, there are like literally people trying to talk to you sometimes. So, and you get to dress up and have fun, and like it's a good time. So try it out. And I think, the arts are good for everyone. So even if that's like not your thing, try it. So the last one I think is always a good idea for anyone is a scenic walk or going on like a small hike or something. I think if you live in the city, this is so easy. Most urban areas are already getting their trees up. They're already putting their lights out. It gets dark early. You know, you don't have to set a really late date or anything like that. I think in the wintertime, people don't want to leave the house too late. It's already dark, so they can get something to eat or have, you know, a snack or something and then go out. I think what people don't want right now is the Netflix and chill. I think that generation, that like part of online dating, I think there's people, you know, there's people who mutually agree upon that, but I think for the most part, that's not really what, especially if people who are looking for long-term engagements, looking for long-term relationships, I would not suggest inviting her over to your place, even if you're making, you know, that can be after you guys meet in public. And I don't think it makes you look great either. Even if you don't have any ulterior motives and really you just like your house or you have a really cool setup, and you want to cook, I still wouldn't suggest doing that on a first date. There's just so many other things to do. So please try something fun first. Walking is great. Again, if you don't want to look like face to face and look in the eyes of someone, like walking is perfect. I love walking. I can just walk and walk and walk and walk, and it's always fun to have a person with me, you know. And if you have a dog or something, or if she has a dog, that's a perfect thing to do, because you're going to be doing, if you end up dating, you're going to be doing that anyway. All right, so thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. If you are interested in things like this, please like and subscribe for more, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Okay, so after I've shared this great information with you, go off on wonderful dates, have fun, and tell me all about it in the comments below. Bye.